The goddess Sharron is the throat goat. I do come for your throat when you are not correct. The federal informant has told nothing but lies, and I can debunk every one of them. So he and his wife have programs where they dox people and look up people's information. If I have 4 cease and desists, those are legal documents. They have to be filed within the court system. Otherwise, they're not legal. They do not exist. So he said I have 4 cease and desists. Pull them up and show them. Put them on your community wall, all 4. Show 3. Show 2. Show 1 with my name on it. Put it up on your community wall that I have just 1 cease and desist from anybody. So you're going to have to prove that to Judge HILLMAN. If I have the power and the influence over Robert Kelly to get people hired, to get people fired, and I can override everybody, if that trust and that belief in what I say is so high, I would have the power of attorney. I would have control of his assets. So there's no way that I have the power to hire and fire, and I pressured him, but I don't have power of attorney or control of his money. That's insane. I was the last person to know the new lawyer was hired for New York. I don't know why liars lie. They're liars. So that's what they do. They lie. I've never done drugs a day in my life. I communicate with Rob when Rob and I want to communicate. It's nobody's business. I don't discuss my communication with him. He doesn't discuss his communication with me. Period. He's never going to tell anybody who he talks to, when he talks to them, what they talk about. And if you knew him, you would know that. But you don't know him. So you don't know how that's his number one thing. He's not telling anybody who he talks to. If you had any sense, you would have put together that he didn't tell Azriel things about Joy, and he didn't tell Joy things about Azriel, and they lived in the same house. He didn't say what he said to Joy, or, if he talked, and he would make Azriel think he's mad at Joy, or Joy think he's mad at Azriel, or he's not talking. And he kept that going with 2 people that lived in the same apartment with him. So do you honestly think he's going to tell anybody when we communicate, if we communicate, what we communicate about, or if there isn't communication, what that's about? He doesn't do that. He didn't do it with the 2 women under the same roof, in the same apartment. He's certainly not going to do it with strangers on social media. Even people that he talks to, he doesn't let the left hand know what the right hand is doing. And again, if you knew him, you would know that. You and others rummaged through my social media, and years ago, I made a post and I talked about a charger. I never said who it was about. And no one will ever know who it was about except the person that I was addressing. So you're guessing to say it was R. Kelly, but it shows how stupid you are. If I worked for Robert in the late 90s, early 2000s, they did not have universal chargers back then, you idiot. They had cell phones that had a cord specific to that phone, And if you lost your cord, that was it. You couldn't use someone else's cord back in the late 90s and the early 2000s. Universal cords is something that's new. So it doesn't make sense that I would have taken a charger from back then for a cell phone that it wouldn't have been able to charge for. Only an idiot would say something that stupid. And that's how you know it's a lie, if you actually use your common sense. Back in the late 90s, back in the 2000s, you had to have a cord that was exactly for your phone. It couldn't even be the same brand and you use it. But you wouldn't know that because you're telling a lie and you're talking to people who don't think outside the box. They just like to be programmed so you can feed bullshit to them. But everybody that had a phone in the late 90s and early 2000s has sense enough to know cords were not universal. Chargers were not universal. I could take somebody's charger, but it wouldn't apply to my phone. I would just be taking a charger that I couldn't use. And that makes no sense. The post you saw was in 2016. That was 15 years later when technology advanced. And the chargers, I'm not even sure if they were universal then, but I wasn't talking about anybody's charger except my own. But you don't know the story. You don't have the backstory. You don't know who I was talking to or what I was talking about. So you make up a story around something you know nothing about. But it shows what a sociopathic liar does. But you're going to have to answer to Noel HILLMAN. So the man that spent 4 years terrorizing R. Kelly supporters and fans is now aligning with Lady D, Sylvia, and others to make himself acceptable to fans and supporters so he can exploit them for cash apps and money, because he can't make money on his side. Nobody cares about this story anymore. Nobody cares about him knowing the father of Azriel. Nobody gives a fuck about him. And so he has no story to sell. He has no relevance. He has no interest to anybody except the people in this sector. And how does he keep your interest? He's got to keep saying the name Angelo Clary. He's got to keep attaching himself to Azriel. Otherwise, he has no story. He has nothing to talk about. I dare you to spend 1 month not mentioning the Clarys. Only talk about your life. He can't do it because he's a boring thief, a sociopathic thief, a person who steals from others because he has no ability to go get his own shit. He even wants to steal his co-defendant's story, his co-defendant's life, and now the Clarys. He wants to attach himself to the Clarys for relevance. He spent 4 years saying he hates R. Kelly, but now he wants to keep himself attached to the name of R. Kelly, attached to the fans and supporters, so he can feel like he's somebody. He's going to read the paperwork and he's going to explain things. To who? For what? His lawyers have the ability to read. His lawyers look through everything. You're going to find something they didn't find? It would be in the appeal or it would be in a lawsuit. It's not there, so you're using it to mind fuck R. Kelly fans and supporters for cash apps. He wants to ingratiate himself to this side for money. Why do you think he did like the infamous scammer and put his Cash App on his page? It's all about get money. That's what they're here for. Get money. They can't help Robert. They don't have the ability. And if they could, they would be talking directly to his lawyers and they would be off social media. But the fact that they're out here trying to sell a story to fans and supporters when the appeal is already done, there's no lawsuit. Why is he doing it? To pander for money, to panhandle for money, to make himself feel like he has some significance, which he doesn't, to take his pathetic ass existence, his pathetic ass life, and attach himself to R. Kelly, attach himself to Azriel Clary, so that he can feel like he had some degree of importance. He has none. He can't talk about himself because he hasn't done shit with his life in 46 years. He's a nobody, he's a nothing, he's a bum who panhandles and begs for money on social media because he drives a Ford truck. He's looking for a come up. He couldn't get it on the other side of taking R. Kelly down, so now he wants to switch sides and come over here like he has the ability to figure some shit out. 98% of what comes out of his mouth is a lie. And the reason I'm debunking the lies is to show you just how obvious his lies are. I talked to him on the phone for about a month. I did ask him for documents, and it was strictly for him to give me what he had. He's stupid. He's dumb. He's retarded. And I spent a month proving that. So he doesn't have anything to offer you except a bunch of hot air in exchange for you giving him money. Him and the fake cousin are out here scamming for Cash Apps.